Who All Gonna Be There podcast, a place where you get to be an exclusive member of our very entertaining group chat.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Who All Gonna Be There podcast. I am back with another quick recap. I didn't give you a recap yesterday because honestly, not a lot happened, but I'm gonna go ahead and break that down to you because that recap gonna probably take like 2 minutes. So yesterday, on the daily, Avery and Spicy are chatting about not trusting Byyyeee. They said mainly because Dennis was campaigning to keep Byyyeee, and so now she kind of is thinking about flipping the vote at the time. So they possibly think she's not trustworthy because the girls had came to the consensus that Dennis should be the one to go, and they're just not trusting her. And again with Lexus, Spicy and Kayla, Avery, all of them, they're not trusting Lexus. And Lexus' main thing is she's hanging and having a lot of time with Matt. And so when she's been hanging with Matt for, however many hours, and then she comes back with the girls, she's not really giving them any information. And honestly, I'm sitting here thinking, like, what if they're just not talking game? Like, that is a possibility because they just like each other. Maybe they're just flirting. They're just cute. Neither one of them have been on a block, so they don't really have a lot to talk about. They don't feel in danger. They kind of, are on like a little vacation, I guess. Let me see. Where am I at? Okay. So discussions do end up happening where they possibly are thinking about keeping Dennis. Okay. So they're giving Byyyeee all this flack, and now they're like, okay, maybe we should, consider possibly keeping Dennis, right? Byyyeee is definitely the one that is mainly in like the charge of this, mainly because which I give kudos to Byyyeee because she hasn't wavered. She's not afraid to put her neck out. So once again, Byyyeee is becoming one of my favorites. She is a lot sometimes, but in Big Brother, like I like the big personalities, and Byyyeee is definitely a big personality. So she was saying, she's like, if Dougie has the opportunity to change his mind about Vivid because he was so gung-ho on Vivid going, but then, he's just like, oh no, now he can stay. So we can't do the same thing. Which if I'm Byyyeee, I'm thinking the same thing. Like Vivid going was good for your game, but keeping him was gonna like hurt mine. And now he's HOH, and you saw he put me up. So if Dougie can flip flop, why can't we? So the combo basically changes back, and they're going back and forth talking about whether they should try to keep Dennis or not. And Babe's like, look, this is just conversations. We're all sticking together. Avery is gung ho. Her and Byyyeee kind of had like a little tiff yesterday. Not a tiff, but like a little. He's like, you're coming in at me hot. He said, like, we just had this whole conversation. I had a conversation in Affinity yesterday. All the girls. When I say all the girls, just know Lexus is not a part of that. Okay, going forward because they're keeping her out of a lot of these conversations. So all the girls were in the Infinity, and they had this consensus, like, okay, Dennis has to go. And then Byyyeee out of nowhere is just like, oh no, maybe we should think about keeping Dennis and da 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 da. So Avery is just upset. She's like, we've had this conversation in the Infinity, and now we're out, and now you're switching it up. And then Avery saw Spicy in the room with with Dennis, so she's thinking like something's gonna change, but doesn't even matter because they've all changed and flipped. Like it's the game. Okay. So basically conversation once again, Lexus gets brought up. Lexus, they keep saying the same thing over and over. She's hanging with Matt, she's hanging with the guys, and then when it's time for us to meet up or we're in a room together, it's not like, hey, Matt said this. It's like, honestly, it's not much game going on except for the ones that Hot Chocolate is playing, and which she is a part of Hot Chocolate, but like it's not really a lot going on. Like, so I mean, what is she gonna do? I mean, Matt right now, like Matt has not been in danger. Matt is basically just a vote, just like Lexus is just a vote. So that's as much, I guess, they can give to the conversation. Now, Matt has definitely been having game conversations with Dougie a lot, but nothing much he can do. He is not in power. He hasn't won a veto. He's not in danger. So I can kind of see where Lexus is coming off. Like, I don't have much to give. Like, if I have something to give, I'm going to give it to you. Let's see. Byyyeee tells the girls that her tagline, basically coming in like in her intros, if you guys remember, she says that I'm not going for the girls or the gays. So that was a big thing for her this week, and which is why, especially since Dennis was like definitely pulling for her, she was like, I don't want Dennis to go. Like, I mean, of course, this is an alliance, and I'm gonna vote you guys, but as of right now, like, I don't want Dennis to go. I want him to stay. And if it's a girl on the block, I don't want to vote her out. If it's a gay on the block, I'm not gonna vote, them out as well. So that's kind of like where she's sitting. They're basically trying to outweigh their options. They think that Dougie is going to end up telling Dennis, which Spicy is when it brings up. She thinks Dougie's going to tell Dennis, like, the girls were pushing to put you up. Now, beside that, Kayla and Spicy were the main ones pushing for that, right? And they go and have a conversation outside in the bedroom, and they're like, okay, you have to understand, like, we're different than the other girls. Like, okay, they're pushing. No, we were like in the HOH room pushing for Vivek to put up Dennis. So if if Dennis stays, he might use that against us or whatever, like they were pushing, which they somewhat get around that later on. So Spicy is getting where we know Spicy does not like to be in trouble. Spicy's all for like stirring the mess, but she doesn't want to be included in the mess, right? Let me see. So the thing that they decided, right? Spicy and Avery and Kayla are having a conversation. And it seems like if they had to find an excuse to use as to why to vote out Goose, Avery had a conversation with Goose, and Goose was saying, like, hey, who's your number one? Avery was saying, I don't have a number one, right? And so he's like, well, I need a number one in the house. And apparently, which y'all tell me if y'all knew that, because I sure didn't, because apparently Kayla and Goose were like each other's number ones, or they're closely linked together. I'm gonna be real. I think I've seen Kayla and Goose have about 2 conversations since the season has started, which is exactly why feeds matter, because we had no idea about this relationship. I had no idea about these relationships. Okay. And I'm watching 90% of these dailies. Okay. So I don't know. It's weird. But obviously we know Avery's number one is Spicy. But they're gonna use that against them because Goose in his campaign had a conversation with Byyyeee. He says, if I win HOH, you're not gonna go up. He said, I'm not putting anybody up that has been on the block before. And so, of course, Spicy has put up Goose before. So I think that was in her mind, like, well, okay, that's probably me. So she's kind of feeling some type of way. So it looks as though if there's an excuse or what about you out? Well, you said you were going to put, people that have been on the block yet, and that's me, and you didn't have a conversation with me saying that you wouldn't put me on the block. So she's assuming, she's like, who's going to put up Tola in? Tola's going to be the one, or Todd you're going to put up. Like, she doesn't think that he would do that. Let me see. Spicy goes to find Ducky. And when I tell you, this wasn't even like 2 seconds later. This was like a minute, and it was like 1 second later, not even a minute, 1 second later. Let me get my times together. It was like a second later, right? After this conversation, Spicy goes to Dougie and she said, hey, the girls want to keep Dennis. They're all freaking out. And I'm like, Spicy sis, you doing the same. But of course, you know how Spicy moves. She's like, the girls want to keep Dennis. Y'all know that's nice for sure. I'm late, but I'm here. Hey, Ty. She's saying like Byyyeee is definitely the one that's pushing most. Hey Rox. We're gonna have a conversation about Avery. Byyyeee is the one mainly pushing, because at first Anthony says this. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna basically say like, hey, Dennis is coming after 3 people that's in the hot chocolate lines. He's coming after me, which is Dougie saying this, Spicy, and I think he said Avery. I can't remember who else said. Yeah, Avery. And so that's when Spicy says, well, it's mainly Bay that's pushing this. And he's like, okay, well, we got to have this conversation. because we can't keep them or whatever, right? So then, of course, that conversation switches. Once again, we know these dailies are choppy. So, whew, out of the conversation. Next, Vivek and Dougie are having a chat and they're talking about Bailey trying to flip the vote or trying to keep. I don't even know if you want to call it a flip at this point. Well, maybe we'll call it a flip vote. Because as of right now, or as we know, Dennis is definitely the one going home. So she's trying to flip the vote, and Beaver thinks that Spicy and Kayla are locked votes, which they aren't because they've been having these conversations. And they've kind of like Kayla and Spicy specifically have ducked off and had these conversations. But to me, definitely what's being portrayed to us, of course they're gonna edit it how they want to, especially even in these dailies, they're gonna edit it. But it seems like they're more so on Dennis staying. Now, in this conversation, right? So the girls are chilling, right? And y'all know when I say the girls, that's all the girls but Alexis, because they keep her out of things. Dennis comes up, and I'm gonna be very real. Dennis gave a very good. I would keep Dennis based off this conversation alone, right? Dennis says, okay, hey, going forward, you really just need to like think of the odds of who's gonna be better for your game, right? So Goose, every single time Goose is on the block, you're gonna go home. And everybody's going home. You next to Avery, 9 times 10, Avery probably gonna go. You sit next to Spicy, Spicy, you're probably gonna go. Like that's gonna be a continuance or whatever going forward, right? Which Dennis doesn't know that he's in alliance with most of them with the directors, but Spicy's in the director. She put him up. So and Goose has said there's possibility he put Spicy up because he said anybody that put him up, he's like, oh, it's gonna be, you put me up, I put you up, but we're still cool. So I definitely see that, revenge spirit in Goose. But he does make the argument like I've won 2 vetoes. Y'all know I can win. Okay. I told you girls that I'm on your side. I'm gonna stick on your side. And if whoever votes for me is who I'm rocking with, is who he says. And I give kudos to Spicy because Spicy was like, look, I'm gonna be very real with you. I've heard that you were gonna go after All Stars, which everybody said this. I heard you were gonna go after All Stars, so I was nervous that you were possibly gonna put me up. But I feel so bad, and I want to apologize. And she did this in front of everybody, which I thought was like a really good game move because everybody knows Spicy doesn't care. It was a really good game move because she apologized and was like, I'm sorry. Because obviously, if he does go home or whatever happens, or if he does stay, somebody's going to be in his ear like Spicy tried to get you out. So she kind of got ahead of it and was like, I just thought, excuse me, because of you going at the All Stars that you were going to put me up. So I was for you leaving. But now that I know you're working for us, like, I'm sorry. I apologize. And he's like, I get that. I get that. You know what I'm saying? You can tell that Dennis was like, okay, that's cool. But like, now let's talk about the vote. So if somebody does use that against her later, he's going to be like, oh, I already had that conversation with Spicy. So kudos to her for getting ahead of that. And Kayla kind of like slid in there a little bit and she kind of said her 2 cents as well or whatever. He's like, I didn't know that this was going to end up being the result. I'm sorry. Like, she apologized as well. And he was just saying, like, if Bailey had all the votes anyways, because the girls were gonna keep Bailey for sure, right? Why would y'all use the veto and then I go up? And Bailey was like, I understand that. Everybody's apologizing to Dennis. It's like, I'm sorry. I didn't think about it at the time because, of course, if somebody's gonna offer you to come off the block, you're gonna take it 100% of the time. And I'm with Bailey. I'm not taking the chance. Like, I'd rather you be the one in jeopardy than me because we all know at the moment's hat, like a vote can flip. So that conversation happened, and it seems as though the girls are very receptive to it. So there is a high possibility that he might stay. Dougie and Dennis are having a conversation, and in this combo, Anthony is basically just giving them yeah, to everything Dennis is saying. He's basically just saying, like, me and Byyyeee, we started off, and this is how Dennis had a lot of conversations today. I'm not gonna replay it for y'all over because it's repetitive. But me and Byyyeee, we had a good relationship. It started off as personal, and then we ended up talking game. He's like, I kind of felt like a mentor to him in a sense, and for him to stab me in the back after I saved him. Like, I literally put my best interests in the house to the side, and I protected him by using a veto. It would be foolish to keep Dennis. I agree. So where was I at? Oh, so he's basically giving them yeah, that's what he said. He's like, feels like he's more a mentor. And now, like, of course, we get this like social, like soap opera scene from from Vivek and Dennis. They kind of like had a conversation to like smooth over everything that they've gone through. And we do know, like, he told Kayla, no, he was talking to Lexus when he was campaigning, and said that there was a time when Vivek told Dennis he felt like a father. And, Dennis doesn't have children. And he's like, at the age he has, there's not a, there's a low chance he would ever have children. So that like cut him deep. And I think that's really, I mean, of course he's upset because Dennis has been trying to get on Big Brother for 10 years now. He, reiterates that to everybody, and that this is like one of his dreams to do, and for him to get cut short. And then for him to get so close to Vivek, for him to, do him like this, he's really upset about it. So honestly, the conversation between Dennis and Dougie, they basically, it's basically like, I respect your game, I respect your game. Anthony promised Dennis nothing. Dennis promised him nothing in this conversation. So not really much from there. That's when I told you guys the girls chatted with Dennis, and it seems as though they're going to possibly keep him. Of course, they're not going to give us that conversation where they actually, after Dennis leaves, like, I want to see that conversation, which we'll probably see tonight, whether, that, if anything came from that. Let me see. Yeah, I told y'all that Dennis says he's playing for the girls. He said he would bring more to the table than Goose, which I agree. I honestly feel like Goose would play a really good game. And I see that like revengeful spirit in Goose. And when I say revengeful, I mean like, you put me on a block, so you going up there. I do honestly think he has the balls to put Spicy D on the block. I think he has the balls to put Vivek on the block. I do think he does. I don't think he put Anthony up, honestly, but I can see him putting Spicy up, honestly. But you got to have the opportunity to win, and he hasn't won yet. So it's easier to be on the side of somebody who has proven they can win, and they are not afraid to use the veto on their ally over somebody who has won nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it just makes more sense that Dennis can promise them more. Let me see. Dennis basically thinks the big reason, which is somewhat true, the big reason why he's in trouble right now is because of Donna. Donna had this conversation with everybody. And when Dennis was trying to keep Donna last week, he heard, well, let me talk. Donna and Dennis were definitely working together in cahoots, talking about like, hey, maybe we should flip this vote because blah 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 blah. And Donna and Dennis had conversations about like Dougie being like the head of everybody, controlling everybody, and he's the head of the house right now. And he thinks that the conversation he had with Donna is what's the reason why he's on the block right now, which somewhat is true. And then, like I mentioned earlier, this little soap opera scene, Dennis and Vivek are having this conversation, and it's so, I'm telling you, it's so emotional, but it just seems like so scripted and like a telenovela. Like it's like Dennis is like, I hate you right now. And then Vivek, they put the camera on Vivek, and Vivek's like, he's like, I don't hate, you know what? I don't hate Byyyeee, but I hate the game that you're playing, He's saying like, I just hope like, if I stay here and I win, I'm putting you on the block. I need you to know, like, this is a strategic move. It's not personal. It's 1000% personal. Like, be real, Dennis, it's personal. Because if you put me on the block, you going up there too. You know what? I'm gonna have a nice speech for you too. Like, you put me on a block, you kiss my ass. That would have been the energy that I'm on. But I 1000% love this moment specifically because Dennis is saying it with his chest. And I'm all for like, once that replacement nom is put up, I don't care what you say. The nom HOH, you can't do nothing for me. Okay? You obviously put me on a block. And I know there's that sense of, well, he's HOH, maybe he can have influence to say who he wants to vote for. You don't have a vote, okay? At the end of the day. So I need to have these conversations with people and I need to see where I can get these votes. Right now, you doing nothing for me. You can stay up in your high horse. I'm gonna be down here gathering my people so I get these votes. Um, and as it seems, if I had to guess, I feel like there is a if I have to give it a percentage, I feel like Dennis might stay. I feel like there's like an 85% chance he's gonna stay. Because at the end of the day, so of course they're all gonna vote together, and that's Avery, Kayla, Byyyeee, and Spicy. They're all gonna vote together. Dennis only needs 5 votes. And if Lexus is with the girls, which I think Lexus is, she's gonna vote to keep Dennis. Now, what I which of course I hate that they're gonna show us what happened before tomorrow, but I wonder how long they're gonna keep Lexus in the dark because this is what's gonna happen. If they tell Lexus too early, there's a possibility, which we don't even really know the game relationship between Lexus and Matt because we haven't seen much. Like she got a massage on the feeds today. This is why I'm like the feeds on the digital dailies today. Like I honestly don't think Matt and Lexus are talking that much game because I feel like they would have at least showed us at least a little bit of a conversation. No, she's getting a massage. Like, good for you, sis. Like, I'm not even mad at it. Get your rub down on. I am not upset about that. But I feel like if they tell Lexus too early, is there a possibility that she's going to tell Matt? Matt is 1000% going to tell Anthony, and then it's going to be a whole thing. Because as of right now, Dougie does know that the girls are considering keeping Dennis, but I think that he thinks that it's just the talk and they're just going to end up voting him out anyways. But Anthony does say to Spicy, like, well, if they vote Dennis, then it's up from here. With meaning like all of y'all can go. You know what I'm saying? And let's be real. If anybody in the house is gonna flip and change their whole entire alliance and just like, okay, cool, I'm dropping this whole alliance, I'm picking up another one, it's gonna be Anthony. And right now, at this point, I feel like it's Anthony's game to lose. Y'all can tell me what y'all think, but right now it is. And I don't really know how much Spicy is so confusing to me because I'm like, she is loyal to Dougie and then she's not, but she is because she's telling Dougie this information from the girls, but she's also in the same conversation saying we should backdoor Dougie. But is knowing Spicy, is she actually wanting Dougie to get backdoored like this soon? Because she was talking about next week, like next week. So is it her actually wanting him to be backdoored, or is she just trying to bait them into a conversation to use with Dougie later? Because we've seen her do that. Let me see. Ty says Spice and them can't get rid of Goose, who they in alliance with, and it not be a problem with Matt, who's in the same alliance. Yeah. At this point, like this week, honestly, it's gonna be messy either way, but with the house, it's gonna be less messy with Dennis. Like the only thing I guess they're really gonna have to be upset about is Dennis after the game. But hey, you're home. Like it's whatever. Dougie is gonna be satisfied. But this guys versus girls thing, it feels like the guys are so loosely working together. I feel like that the girls, if the girls do get rid of Dennis, I don't know. I'm just thinking like because honestly, okay, so on this side you have Avery, you got Kayla, you got Lexus. I'll put Lexus in the middle because Lexus what Lexus doing? Lexus is chilling. Lexus is on a vacation because what is Lexus doing? Byyyeee and we got Spicy in the middle. we'll say we have Spicy, and then we have Dougie over here. Dougie closely has Matt. He now has Vivek. Vivek is a loyal soldier to Dougie now. He gonna, if he told him to jump, he gonna say how high and what time, sir. Like at this point. Um, but oh, Tola. Tola is such a wild card. I'm gonna be really honest. I would love for Tola to win HOH tonight because what is Tola gonna do? What is Tola gonna do? Like this season has really had a couple of like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Tola would definitely be one. Like the house would be like, what is he gonna do? Um, I don't know. I think Dennis is. I'm just gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say Dennis stays. I would like for Dennis to stay because I don't like the kumbaya-ness of the season. I think he's gonna come for Dougie. I do. I feel like if Dennis was to stay this week, right, and then he wins HOH, I think Dougie and Vivek would be on the block. Um, oh, but I don't want Dougie to go home. I need Dougie to win veto. That's what I want. I kind of want to see. I not kind of. I do. I want to see Anthony on the block because I just want to see. Anthony's never been on the block, but I also don't want that streak for him never being on the block to be broken either. So I'm kind of like I don't know, but I feel like Anthony can talk his way off the block. I feel like he doesn't have to win. Um, I'm just really thinking out in my mind, like live here. Like I want to see him in trouble because let's like your favorite players, you want to see them in trouble because you don't want the argument. Well, Dougie's never been on a block, so whatever. You know, some people look at it as a good thing, some look at it as a bad thing. Like you were never, nobody wanted to waste putting you on the block. But like it's much more impressive to me that somebody can earn their way off about they can earn those votes because at the end of the day, you know, in regards to all the comps and everything, Big Brother for me, I've watched Big Brother for a very long time, is at the core a social game, right? And Anthony's social game is he's definitely the king of socials in the Big Brother Canada house. Yeah, he gonna talk his mess anyway. And that's one thing I really do like about Anthony. Like Anthony will tell you to your face, like, I don't like you. You know, like I don't like this, I don't like this, da da da. And then by the end of the conversation, you're somewhere like, dang, I really like Anthony. Man, I really want to work with Anthony. Um, and a lot of people say that Anthony's blind spot is spicy. I'm just gonna say this. I don't know. Yes, to a certain extent, but I think his real blind spot, honestly, is Byyyeee. I honestly feel like Byyyeee would be very, very loyal to Anthony. She gotta learn, he gotta learn how to talk to her because Byyyeee do not like the way that Anthony talks to her. Um, hmm, a Byyyeee and Anthony team up. Hmm. Benjamin. Oh, Benjamin. I wanted to say that. Shout out to Benjamin. He said, I'm sorry, but these ladies are going to regret not flipping a vote to keep Dennis. I 1000%. Like, honestly, it's gonna be a guy's game if Dennis goes. And I do believe that. But Benjamin was saying on our last daily, y'all, that um Vivek staying in the house, you know, I was like, it probably buy him like a week, was saying that nobody in the house is gonna trust him. When I tell you I've heard that so many times, it was like, well, Vivek did this to his like number one. Nobody trusts him. Nobody trusts him. And I was like, that's exactly what Ben was saying. Like, I agree. Like, even if you saying, I'm doing this for y'all, I'm doing this for y'all, and then you come back and say, hey, we're on a team and this is the alliance I'm gonna stick with. He told Avery, Anthony, and Spicy, like, this is the team I'm sticking with. I'm never doing this again. It hurt too much. Cool. I'm not gonna give you the opportunity to do it, Vivek. You're gonna go on the block. that's that's what I would do. Because you were closer to Dennis than you were me. So what makes me think you're not gonna do that to me? Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. But yeah, I think that pretty much much wraps up. The girls, oh, that's important. I did kind of mention that yesterday. The girls are definitely on the radar of getting Dougie out. Avery, oh yeah, I said I was gonna talk about Avery. Avery, I was so excited about Avery. Avery is on my draft list. Avery is disappointing me. Oh, sorry, yeah. Avery is disappointing me so much. Like she is more of a follower than I thought. I didn't think she'd be as like yes man as she is. And what's funny is it's like until we see Avery in power, we're not gonna really know how her game is. But like because she was just like, I want this week to go by because I think it's too early. But after this week, like I'll put Dougie on a block myself. Now Avery. I don't see that happening. I would be very surprised. But Avery is definitely like spicy. She likes to, make good TV. So, do I think she's gonna do it? I don't know. But Avery is disappointing to me on the sense of she does seem like she's a yes man and or yes girl, and she doesn't really have her set on opinions. I don't know. Hey Debbie. She says they say I don't think Dougie wants to be in alliance with Kayla or Avery anymore. Yes. You can tell. Thank you for bringing that up. You can tell that he's feeling some type of way because if y'all saw the episode yesterday, we saw that Kayla, um, Spicy and Anthony were having a conversation with Kayla to try. This was before they were trying to get her to use the veto to. Well, she was gonna for sure use the veto already. That was already set. But they wanted Kayla to push that Dennis should be the replacement nom. And she was kind of pushing back from it because she was kind of afraid to be the one to bring it up. Which, if I'm Kayla, that's basically what it seemed like. So it's gonna seem like the first push for Dennis to go up is from Kayla, and she didn't want that on her hands. And so because she didn't express it, I guess, or she went like, yeah, like I'm gonna go do this. You know what I'm saying? Like a yes woman, like Avery. I think he's feeling some type of way about that. And Kayla, you can tell, has her own mind. And I think that's also gonna be something that they end up butting heads with later because you can tell I was proud of Kayla. She kind of pushed back a little bit, which I do think Kayla's in like the best spot in the house right now. But you can tell it was a little pushback from that, and you can tell Anthony was like a little like peeved about it because if Dougie tells you to do something, you're supposed to just do it. And she didn't automatically say, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go. She did, of course, end up eventually going, but it was a lot of pushback. And the way it made it seem, I feel like they edited that a little bit, and it might have been a little bit more than we saw. But yeah, she wasn't feeling it. Dougie is going to have Matt and Tola take out the girls from him, and it's gonna be really sad to see. I 1000% think so. I don't know how good the relationship is with Tola and Anthony, but if anybody's gonna talk Tola into doing anything, it's gonna be Anthony at this point. I don't know, man. The girls, honestly, this right here, I think is pivotal. Y'all know what word I'm trying to say. In keeping the girls intact for at least a good bit because the girls are in a pretty good space right now. And especially like the guys are kind of beefing with each other a little bit, you know? Um, yeah, and I'm gonna be going forward. I would Todd HOH would be interesting. Tola and HOH would be very interesting. Um, Honestly, I wonder what Lexus would do in HOH. Like we have Lexus is a definition of give us nothing. I mean, they ain't giving us enough showtime, so I don't know what Lexus is really gonna do. Um, Unpopular opinion, I don't think Lexus should stay with the girls. Uh, I'm with you because as much as they talk about it, like as soon as I get a little win, she has to notice that conversations are happening and she's not a part of. And it's crazy, like, out of all the seasons I've watched, this is the most I've ever seen where these people sit in rooms and have long conversations, and they don't whisper a lot. Like, they have, like, full-blown conversation. I'm just like, And it seems like this season everybody's like grouped up because they were like in the like, the little outside play area, like where they lift weights and stuff, having a full on like alliance conversation, and they're talking like this, like, yeah, I think we should, put up Dougie. I think that, and I'm like, y'all not whispering, y'all not hiding, like, so that was funny to me. But I do think tonight's episode is gonna be a good one. Um, Benjamin is saying, I think Alexis is in the best spot in the house because the girls and the guys both need her as a number. That's true. That's true. Yeah. I can see that. It's just gonna be more so whose side is she gonna end up voting with. I think I think Lexus is gonna stick with what the girls want to do. But if she gets any kind of wins on, hey, the girl's been talking mess about you, I think that's when she's gonna go to what more so Matt says. I just need to know, does Lexus have a mind of her own? Because sh she's just so quiet. She's like, so she's quiet, like she doesn't speak unless she's spoken to. So it'd be very interesting to see her. She doesn't even get a lot of DRs. So that'll be very interesting to see. Honestly, the season so far, the season is definitely getting more and more interesting as it goes along. So I would love to see a Bailey HOH because it would just be a little crackheadish. She's just loud. She's very opinionated, and I love a loud, strong, opinionated woman. I do because I'm the same way. So I don't know. So, anyways, I'll wrap it up. I've been rambling for the last 15 minutes, thinking about my Big Brother thoughts. But episode is tonight. I do think Dennis, I'm gonna say I think he stays. I hope he stays. Bayla is my Felicia. Yes, yes. I want her to stay. Yes, Ben, we're here. I do think he's gonna stay. I don't know. The only way I think Dennis goes is if Anthony does what Anthony does. And if Spicy says, like, hey, like 9 times out of 10, like Dennis is probably gonna stay. Now, if Spicy tells him like, no, this is like really like we get some action and we're moving, maybe. But I'm gonna hold out hope because Dennis said he want to burn the house up, and I think he will burn it up a little bit with entertainment. Yes, Ben. So we gonna see. I'm hoping Dennis stays. But if he goes home, I promise you, I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna get Dennis on here, and we are gonna have a conversation. But I hope Dennis is gonna be invited to the pod regardless because I do like Dennis. But I hope that's later and not tonight, not tomorrow, not next week. Because I am a big fan of him. Going forward, I'm a fan of people that play the game. You know what I'm saying? Ty, Ty said it with chest. Ty does not want uh Dennis to stay because he going after Dougie. But you know what? Okay, I'm rambling, but I'm gonna like say this last part and then we're gonna get off. But I think I would really love if Dennis wins HOH, right? Puts Vivek up and Anthony, right? Anthony talks his way off the block and or wins veto, right? And then Dennis has this conversation like, hey, the girls been da 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 da, and then they flip. Oh, that would be going against the girls though. So I don't want that. But just I'm thinking of entertainment TV. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, no, we don't want to do that. But you know what? If Anthony and Dennis ended up working together, Treese is right. Tracy. That works. But if they work together, that would be so interesting to me. Can I say this? A perfect 4 for me right now in this game would be Anthony, Dennis, Bailey, and Kayla. That's my like perfect 4. Spicy, you can be 5. Just because she's entertainment TV. But that would be my 4 that I would love to see at the end and then y'all battle it out. Like, yeah, that would be my 4, honestly. But I'm just rambling. Who knows? Because just like Big Brother changes at a drop of a hat, I'll be changing my opinion probably next week. But then again, thank you guys for popping in with me and listening. We will be doing the recap of the whole week plus the eviction tonight. On Thursday, we'll be going live around, I don't know, like 8:30 ish. I don't know. I'll send a tweet out. So y'all guys follow us at a who all there on Twitter, and you guys will see notification for that. If you have your notification bells here on YouTube, you'll get the notification anyway, so you don't miss out. And the boys will be with me to recap tomorrow. Like always, I love y'all's comments and questions and commentary. Okay. So I will see y'all. Oh, Survivor. If you're watching Survivor, we will be going live for Survivor tonight at 9:30 Eastern, Central, Eastern, Central. Okay, Eric does the time zones. Okay, follow us on Twitter. Eric's gonna laugh at me for this. We're going live to talk about Survivor tonight. So hopefully I see you guys tonight. But until then, bye y'all.